Hi. Good morning, everybody. Bit of a thin audience to start with, but this is the opening session for 4 days of Fintech Surge 2023. Welcome back. To those of you that have been before, we're obviously in a new venue this year, a testament to the success and the scale of Fintech in the region, in particular in the UAE and Dubai. We're going to be kicking off in a minute, looking at RegTech, but over the next 4 days, we've got some fantastic sessions ranging from advances in regulatory technology through to AI and cryptography. We've got some crypto stuff happening, insurtech, and of course, fintech and payments. I'm your host for the 4 days. I'll be back on later on in the day, looking at the future of payments with a panel. But just take the opportunity to enjoy the day. There are no specific breaks in the schedule, so make sure that you take time to get refreshments at the back of the room. There's also refreshment stands and carts in different parts of the hall. Please visit the exhibitors, but most importantly, this is as much your opportunity as it is ours, talking about what's happening in fintech. So please make sure that you take advantage of the opportunities to ask questions of our panelists. We've got a lot of content over the next 4 days, so make sure that you get your questions answered. I'm going to be back later on, and we'll take stock of the day later on as we work through the morning. But now I'd like to introduce Olga from HorizonX Consulting for a session on RegTech. Please give Olga a warm welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone, and very well welcome to our RegTech panel today. So today we'll be talking about leveraging tech for data integrity, regulatory compliance, and maximizing efficiency gains at the same time. It's a great pleasure to be here, especially knowing our panelists. I'm really expecting very heated discussion today. So without further ado, let me introduce who we have today. Mr. Ahmad Alzarouni, Vice President, Head of IT, Investment Corporation of Dubai, with 20 years of practical managerial experience in technology management, including all technical sectors, information security, system programming and management, author of Technical Thinking and the Bubbles Theory. The fun fact about Mr. Ahmed is that he is the President of Happiness for over 10 years. Please give him a very well welcome. Mr. Ahmed, please come on stage. Another panelist of ours for today, Alex De Vries. Close enough, or not really? No? My apologies. Anyway, Alex is the founder of Digiconomist and a data scientist in Financial Economic Credit Unit at the Dutch Central Bank. His research focuses on the environmental impact of emerging technologies and played a major role in the global discussion regarding the sustainability of blockchain technology. Please give a very warm welcome to Mr. Alex. And our third panelist today, Mr. Anand Krishnan, the Director of Technology at Emirates Investment Bank. With 25 years of experience, he steers the IT strategy, technology modernization, digital transformation, demonstrating a deep commitment to innovation and efficiency, an expert in wealth management and treasury domains. Mr. Anand has a remarkable track record of successfully orchestrating large-scale, cross-border technology transformation programs. Please help me give a very warm welcome, Mr. Ahmed. Please come on stage. Do we have all mics, Mr.? Yes, we have it. All right. So we will get started without further ado. Mr. Ahmed, first, our first panelist. How do you envision Gen AI and artificial intelligence playing a role in ensuring data integrity, compliance, and at the same time maximizing efficiency gains in the banking sector?
Well, thank you for all. Welcome, everyone. Today's session will be very heated, I believe. And we have a good years of experience to talk about this. But the thing that we don't have enough experience is generative AI. This is the reality. So what I understand from the generative AI, what we are experiencing from this kind of a super advanced technology, we are just looking at the tip of the iceberg. So this is just the start, and I believe the way forward it will be so advanced that it's not even in our imagination. With the release of GPT-4V, well, the latest one was released within like last week ago. That is really super advanced. The computer now can understand your voice, can see, and can feel your tone of text. So with this, it can be supporting us, empowering us to the next level where I believe it is now we are living in a technology world. Whatever happened before, it's nothing to compare to what is going to come next. So that's just the start.
So do you think that this artificial intelligence can really help the bank and the banking sector to help data integrity and fulfill all of the compliance regulations? Because it's a very, balancing, very delicate act of matching all of the compliance regulations with trust of the clients, with data privacy. Do you really think that Gen AI can help us with this?
Yes, I believe that generative AI will be a huge added value to any industry, and especially in the banking sector. It will be it will facilitate detecting any kind of frauds. It will even add the ability to understand the clients. It will improve the accuracy of KYC. It will even improve the value-added service to the clients. So we will, from the generative AI, now I think someone is getting up to answer, but from the generative AI, I believe we can know which customer we can give them this kind of a product and which one can be a potential risk, or who can be a potential fraud or a part of an organized crime. There is a lot of things we can utilize the generative AI to help us in almost all of the banking sectors. And on top of that, it can add value in the investment part of the banking.
And Mr. Anand, are you already prototyping or experimenting with Gen AI in the Emirates Investment Bank?
Yeah, so so glad to be with such an esteemed panel, and thanks Fintech Surge for the opportunity. Like Mr. Ahmad said, generative AI is still in its very initial days. And specifically for banking and financial services, there is probably a huge momentum that we would see in the coming years on how generative AI would kind of help both the bank and its customers. And let me tell you, instead of the usual jargons, let me give you a simple use case. When ChatGPT came about late last year, we were pretty much eager to kind of, you usually have the banker's ego in you, right? So you would want to go and test it. Is it going to think as much as what we do? So we went and gave it a very simple ask of, can you generate a portfolio which is balanced for a medium or moderate risk customer and make the portfolio diverse with equal concentration of risk across asset classes? I mean, in the process, try to make it a little more complex for it to understand. And what did it do? In 3 seconds, it gave me a 10 sentence of how I should construct the portfolio where I should invest, what kind of asset classes I should invest, what is the percentage I should invest. We were zapped because our ego is hurt. So we went ahead one step and said, can you tell me what specific instruments should I invest in? And 2 seconds, 1 second less, it gave me a list of instruments I should invest in. So, and this is just the initial days of generative AI, right? So what we do understand, I think it's going to be a big boost for the investment bankers who are day in and day out interacting with the customers, right? So you build a portfolio, you construct a portfolio for your customers, and now you have a medium which can actually be used to bounce off your ideas and see, am I more or less on track? Is this where the world is going? Is this, because the kind of data mediums like ChatGPT or Bard or you name the generative AI systems, they are exposed to, and the kind of data an investment banker is exposed to, right? There's a huge difference. And I think that's where you will actually see the big difference that Gen AI is going to bring about. Now, what is it going to, there's a flip side to this as well. So as much as you have access to ChatGPT, my customer has got access to ChatGPT as well. So he is now going to come back and check whether I am getting pretty much aligned advice from my institution as well. So it's got its flip sides. It only means that the financial services sector needs to do its homework a little more, need to make more informed decisions, and those informed decisions comes with such tools that will give you the power of data.
Thank you. And talking about the flip sides, I would like to turn to Mr. Alex and ask you about those concerns and drawbacks in terms of utilizing this technology, especially in such a sector that is based on trust, on the privacy in terms of customer data. So what sort of concerns do you see of using this technology in the banking sector?
Yeah, well, I was told that no matter what I'd be saying, I would be coming off as a pessimist in the next couple of minutes. But I do want to remind everyone that new technologies are generally not flawless. And it doesn't matter whether it's AI or previously blockchain, big data analysis, previously, they all have their own unique challenges. And well, I actually happen to have published a paper on one of those challenges related to AI last week, which is specifically on the sustainability side. If we're going to be using AI for everything, we have to realize that AI is energy-intensive technology. And yeah, if we start using that on a very big scale, we also risk increasing our total power demand, which is generally not going to work out well for the climate. That's one particular concern for those who are interested. I have a separate presentation scheduled on that later this week. But that's only one dimension, and actually only the most recent one. We have seen other concerns being addressed with regard to the use of AI, well, specifically with regard to large language models such as ChatGPT. We already experienced that they hallucinate a lot, and simply because of the fact that they are language models. They generate text, and they are trained on data that may lead them to give correct answers at times, but it's not a knowledge base. So it might just as well just come up with something that has no basis whatsoever. And if you're not an expert, you're going to have some troubles with establishing what is true and what is not. Speaking about what is true and what is not, we also see the potential for the misuse of, in particular, generative AI when it comes to generating misinformation, fake images. It's all happening already. So there is a dark side to these technologies. And then you mentioned trust. We have the GDPR regulation. It's important to keep data safe. Or, well, first of all, before you keep data safe, you shouldn't be collecting the wrong type of information. You have to, if you're building your AI, you need to ensure that you're not collecting all kinds of data that is going against that GDPR regulation. And of course, you also need to ensure that then after collecting that data, you're going to keep that information sufficiently safe. Because one thing is certain, AI requires a lot of data. You're going to be putting a lot of data in a small spot, but there's also a vulnerability. And it's not to say that we shouldn't be using AI, it's just that we should be keeping this at the back of our minds when we try to use these technologies.
Sure, thank you for that. So in terms of, because you were saying that there are some concerns also for data integrity, and is there any way that we can leverage technology to ensure that this data integrity is kept, integral and ready to use in those models?
Well, by the way, I think I forgot. I actually wanted to add one more thing in my previous list, especially when it comes to financial services. We've also seen some concerns already in regard to biases in algorithms, depending on how you train your algorithm. So also, you need to ensure that you have the proper controls on your training. How do you train your algorithm? How do you prevent algorithmic bias in the end? And I guess that's also part of the answer, because how do you mitigate? Well, you just have to be very conscious about the risk. That's step one. If you don't realize that there is a risk for potential bias, then you're not going to control for it. Controlling for it is going to be more challenging because you need to carefully curate your data, and of course you can still inadvertently introduce biases. So that's going to be more challenging. I guess it just means that if you have a working model, you're going to have to stay vigilant and be very careful about any signals that there's maybe some form of discrimination going on, something that you might not be aware of initially. You should be at least aware that that might happen at some point.
Sure. Thank you for raising that awareness. I think it's really important to keep that in mind. Mr. Ahmad, would you like to comment on Mr. Alex's concerns versus the artificial intelligence usage?
No, I agree with them. Yes, there is, of course, a flip side for any technology, starting from the computer perspective. So there is always a flip side for any technology, but avoiding utilizing the technology, it will send us back to the dark ages. So it's a tool that can empower humans, and it's a tool that can also empower criminals. So everyone can use this tool to use it in the direction that they believe that's more suitable for them. Now, we cannot stop the criminals using this kind of technology. It makes fraud very easy, by the way. You can build a fake company in a minute. We can fake the whole profile and portfolio with the strong content that can fool anybody, and that is very hard also to cross-check it without going back to the typical ways of criminal investigation to detect where this information is coming from a trusted source rather than just a text in the portfolio of the company. So, of course, detecting it's not a big challenge, but it makes it difficult for the crime units. The other point is that what I believe is that this question always comes. I can see you smiling, but this question is always there. Is the generative AI going to replace human? And I can confirm to you, yes. If you stop using it, it will replace you. And that regardless of your profession, if you're not using generative AI, it will replace you.
That's a very powerful message. Thank you for that. Mr. Anand, speaking from your long years of experience in banking and digital transformations, do you have any list of advices how financial institutions can strike the balance of using that technology to ensure data integrity, making sure that compliance regulations are met, and at the same time mitigating operational risk and maximizing efficiency gains, because we are not charity in here, we still need to make the profit. So do you have any advices on how to strike this balance, how to make this balance happen?
See, there are only two major components that are in play when you strategize your business, right? You have to increase your revenue, you have to keep your operations as efficient as possible, which means that lower operational cost, increase revenues. Very simple principles, right? So, customer being at the center of your business is what all organizations have now ensured, that there is no two ways about it, right? So earlier, there used to be a kind of trade-off on how much you would want to spend on the customer side so as to keep your operational efficiency in check. But these days, these have now become probably the same thought process. So if you want to increase your revenues, you sell products that will give you revenue, or you provide service that will bring in more customers and therefore give you better revenue. So there is no two ways about it now that technology investments are the way forward, and it manifests itself in different domains. One is artificial intelligence, one is probably robotic processes, one is your ability to come with new products with ease through technology. So my understanding of what's happening now is your customer does not need you always. So your customer, including the investment banking, private banking, and wealth side, where I've spent most of my years of experience, there were days where your RM was probably, your relationship manager was the first point of contact for anything and everything your customer wanted to do. But it's slowly changing. Your customers are more tech savvy these days. They want information at a click of a button. They probably don't want to wait for someone to come and give them information. So you do have to provide those capabilities now, and that's non-negotiable these days. The second thing is, however much you would want to bring in technology, there is always a small element of the human touch that needs to come in and kind of untie certain knots that you would want to avoid in your customer interactions, right? So this whole hyper-personalization that is coming in the last 2-3 years, the persona-based banking, right? So you understand your customer, you keep him at the center of your business, you get to understand what he would like to do on his own, what he would like to for the banks to provide him, and then kind of tailor-made the service itself. And we've all moved away from a one-size-fits-all mode of servicing our clients to a more personalized, more customized way of how you would want to service your clients. And that has come in both on the service side as well as the product side. And for example, there are a lot of these new Fintech investment organizations where they even come out with what they call as micro customized portfolios, right? So this year, my customer had a lot of cash. He had a risk appetite to do more of investments in, say, equities. Probably last year, that was not what he was. He had probably a bit of a liquidity crunch. He was slightly risk averse. So you have to bring in systems and solutions that kind of even understand how your customer demographics also change over the years. And that's what the customer expectation is also. And given we have so much of geopolitical situations around and volatility in the market as a result, you can't do away with technology. You have to kind of depend on technology to come and help you assess, give you the trends, give you the what-if analysis, which you can then kind of share with your customers and then get your business along.
This is a very interesting comment that you said about this hyper-personalized experience for services and products at the same time, that the technology help us deliver faster to our clients. This is a very good observation. Mr. Alex, would you like to comment or add to what Mr. Anand was talking about?
Yeah, I guess the most important thing I heard was customer-centric design. And from my years in working as a consultant, I realized that a lot of institutions forget to do that. They have innovation hubs, they see new technology, they see blockchain, they see AI, and they start thinking, we need AI, or my client needs AI. There's a lot of hype, a lot of fear of missing out. Everyone just starts forcing this new technology onto their solutions. But they forget that the client doesn't require AI. The client requires solutions that help them. And AI might be one of the tools that can deliver that to them. And that's a very important difference. So it's often important for institutions to just take a step back and wonder, okay, how can I best help the end users rather than trying to force a new technology on every single solution?
Thank you for that. That is a very important comment. So as our panel is approaching an end, I would like to ask our panelists for a key takeaway that you would like our audience to come out after the panel and to really remember that single thought of yours that you want to pass it over. Mr. Ahmad, would you like to start?
We should wait for the airplane, I think. Well, I believe taking risk of anything, it's part of what human nature is. Without that, we will not be even reaching to this place. It's a new place for this event. So I believe that all of us should dig into this generative AI. It's a completely different than AI that we used to hear about. This is completely something new. It's really unbelievable. And I want to comment on one point he mentioned here. He was saying that we added a lot of complex in the question to the generative AI. In reality, he was helping the generative AI to give a most accurate answers. Because the more input you add, the answer becomes very lenient and very easier for the generative AI to answer. So it was tricking you.
That's where your ego gets hurt, right? So
exactly.
You think you're clever, but AI got the better of you.
But what comes as the flip side, the generative AI now knows exactly what is his job and knows now exactly how to please him with the next answer. So if you work in a confidential area, do not use generative AI for your confidential information. Now I think that will please you, right?
That's a very strong takeaway. Thank you for that. Mr. Anand, one key takeaway.
The biggest takeaway for us is keep your customer at the center of everything you do as a business. And that's probably the only way you could get technology to help you.
Okay, thank you. So we have do not use Gen AI for confidential information and customer centricity always at the heart of the design. Mr. Alex, what is the one from your side?
I'm totally aligned with that, like I already mentioned in my previous comment. I think it's important to keep in mind that all new technologies, all emerging technologies, now including AI and generative AI, are not flawless. They are not going to be miracle cures for everything. They have their own limitations, and we should be very aware of those limitations to be able to manage that properly. Like was mentioned, be very careful with confidential data, for example. And again, also going forward, don't try to force this specific technology on anything. Take a step back and consider what is it that's going to be the best way to help my end users. And you may use AI for that, but that might not be the best answer.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for those insights. Thank you so much for the panelists to be with us today, and please give them a very good and nice round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, that's your badge.